free education was
Not long ago, many children in Zambia did not go to school because their parents could not afford it. Today, 2.5 million children are back in the classroom, sitting on desks and being fed nutritious meals under the school feeding program. Markets are now peaceful with no cadre violence. Clinics stand where there were none. There's still much work ahead, jobs to create, futures to secure. And that's why Bali keeps working day after day. Because just as we delivered free education, we will keep delivering. For every child still waiting and every family still rising. Until progress is something every Zambian feels. We've started the change. Now let's finish the job. On the 13th of August 2026, vote for Hakainde Hichilema as President of the Republic of Zambia. And let us continue to move Zambia forward together.
Yes, Kaprosit Lusaka, with me, Innocent Piri, sitting in on behalf of Pastor Kenneth Mambwe. Now, Zambia draws closer to the August 13th general elections. The nation is immersed in a critical conversation about leadership, governance, economic recovery, national unity, and the future direction of our democracy. Tonight, we look beyond the campaigns, beyond the slogans, and beyond the election day itself. We ask a fundamental question: what kind of Zambia should emerge after the 13th, 2026? With elections strengthened democratic governance, what challenges and opportunities await for the next administration? And what should be the priorities for the national development, regardless of who forms government? To help us unpack these issues, we are joined by a seasoned politician, former Minister of Transport and Communications, a former Lunte Member of Parliament, and a senior member of the Tonse Pamozi Alliance, Honorable MUTOTWE Kafwaya. Honorable, welcome and good evening to you.
Thank you so much, IP, for having me. Good evening to you and good evening to our viewers. It's a great pleasure for me to be hosted by you this evening.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled as well. How is Tonse and Pamozi?
Tonse Pamozi Alliance is growing day by day. It's providing hope to the Zambian people. And so it's been accepted. There's no question about that. This is why you see Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu songs being sung everywhere. To some extent, or to an extent of even threatening some people, in the corridors of powers to ban, certain songs, with propaganda only to come back and say, no, we haven't banned the song, creating confusion around these relics. But you tend to think there is a big problem. Yeah, a big problem actually. However, Tonse Pamozi Alliance continue to grow and continue to attract the Zambian people, and we are happy for that.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable. We'll try by all means to dive into those issues and the problem that you are alleging. What are these problems all about? But of course, to dear viewers, like I mentioned earlier on, you are joining us via DSTV channel 279, GoTV channel 27, and also Topsat Decoder channel 102. The program is also live on our social media platforms, YouTube, as well as Facebook page. You can drop in those questions and clarifications, or perhaps it could be concerns that could be shared on this particular platform. We've got a few months before the general elections. I know that in the midst of the campaigns, Honorable, you and I, together the viewers, we are aware that we have got two pending issues. Number one, the country is, mourning the demise of Paramount Chief Mpezeni of the Ngoni-speaking people. That's number one. Beyond that, again, the country is also remembering, actually in the next few hours from now, the mortal remains of former head of state, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, will be clocking 1 year without any burial. All these are very bad memories for a country like Zambia. I don't know where you start from.
Hey, IP, thank you so much. I would like to start from indicating that as somebody who has transitioned from the Patriotic Front, a political party that was led by the late President Edgar Lungu, I and my colleagues and many of people of goodwill continue to remember President Edgar Lungu for what he represented to us all. And we continue to pray and stand with the family of President Edgar Lungu. What has befallen that good family is heavy, we recognize that, but our power is limited in the sense that we are unable to tender complete help in order for a resolution to be made so as to ensure a befitting send-off for our hero, our father, our mentor, some of us, and somebody who meant so much to the Zambian people. So we continue remembering you, President Edgar Lungu. May your soul continue resting in eternal peace. For the people of Eastern Province, and in particular the Ngoni-speaking people, my deepest condolences to you on the loss of the Paramount Chief. Who is my chief? Who is my Mbuya? Somebody I know personally, who I have visited in his palace and who I met in Kasama when he came for Kusefia Pangwena, whom I have met here in Lusaka. A very, very good man. May his soul rest in peace. But also, I just wanted to indicate to you that I came prepared for you. You need to be sure about that. And if you misbehave, you see this bottle. This bottle may be useful. Did you see it? I mean this. If you misbehave, I may end up using it.
Unless you decide to interview yourself.
No. I'm hoping nobody misbehaves. But this is my bottle. So let's say I am praying that the whole program goes well for the people of Eastern Province, and that after we put our chief to rest, we may return to normalcy and other national programs may continue. But speaking about the former president of the Republic of Zambia, earlier today I saw a letter from the EFZ guiding that no churches that are affiliated to the EFZ should promote the memorialization of President Edgar Lungu. I just wanted to say, if that is authentic, I find it shocking. I find it very, very shocking, because we, the church, must be the ones who are encouraging people to pray. In fact, I was reminded of a scripture in, I might want to share with you, in First Thessalonians. Where did I write that one down? Okay, so First Thessalonians 5, chapter 16 to 18. Rejoice always, the Bible says. Pray without ceasing. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. This is the Bible. When I read the letter from the EFZ, if it is authentic, there was not a single scripture that was quoted in that letter. Not a single scripture. So the EFZ has given guidance without basing it on any scripture. But I'm a Christian. And I know the basis upon which we think in church. It is the word of God. Okay? It is the word of God. There is no scripture. In fact, they say the guidance is based on their conviction that it is morally inappropriate to remember President Edgar Lungu. I find that extremely unfortunate. And frankly, if the church is going to offer such, such guidance, to its members, then you wonder, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? If I'm going to be stopped from going to church, then what is the difference between those UPND police who went to cordon the Cathedral of the Child Jesus and the church which is saying, don't go and remember this person. And we are saying we are going to church. We are not going to the stadium. Okay, we are not going to the showgrounds. We want to go to church. But the bosses in the church, the people who should pray for us and speak for us and encourage us are the ones who are saying, don't go and pray, because it is morally inappropriate to pray. Okay, so I'm sorry. I know
you may not know the reasons. Why the church or EFZ have given that directive to its members. I also do not know. But looking at Zambia, as a Christian nation, declared as a Christian nation in 1991 by Dr. Chiluba, the late. Again, Edgar Chagwa Lungu comes in to declare a day of national prayer, fasting, and reconciliation. And then these statements are coming in on the anniversary of Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Speak from a position of a leader, and you as a Christian, what do you think could have informed this position or this directive by the church?
I don't know. And I cannot speculate. But whatever could have informed this guidance, I personally find it inappropriate, because the main business for church is souls, converting of men from bad ways into the ways of Christ. And these bigger activities happen in church. But what is the basis of these activities is the Word of God. What does the Word of God tell us? I just shared with you one scripture, which is encouraging the brethren to pray without ceasing. Pray even when Edgar Lungu is not buried. Pray. Pray for the hearts of men to be softened. Pray for men to come into Christ. Pray for the agreement between the family and government. Pray, 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 pray. That is the thing. That is what we are being, admonished as a church. But our bosses have told us, those of us who belong to the EFZ, we should not go to pray. We should not participate in that. I am disappointed.
Are you participating in the prayers tomorrow?
I will participate. I will participate in the prayers tomorrow. Right. And on top of participating, I have to declare I am disappointed with that guidance. Extremely disappointed.
What would you expect the government, how should they remember the death of Edgar Chagwa Lungu, especially after this protracted conversation, failure to dialogue? The matter is still in court up to now. What are your expectations on the side of the government, but not only the government side, on the side of the Lungu family? Because when you interrogate this matter, the government will tell you that it's not us. Go and speak to the Lungu family. They have to soften up their hearts. They have to to admit that Edgar Chagwa Lungu, he deserved a dignified burial. When you go to the Lungu family and of course other sympathizers like you and other stakeholders, again you are telling us, go to the government. The government has been, stubborn. The government has been unfair on the Lungu's death. How can we handle this matter as we remember Isiel's death tomorrow, 1 year anniversary?
Okay, so I remember President Lungu as a person. His family will remember him as a relative. The nation will remember him as a leader who led us. And for me, when I sit and think about President Lungu, I see a mentor, somebody that mentored me. Okay, so a very significant part of the way I view politics was projected into me by President Edgar Lungu. And I have very specific messages that he implanted upon my heart, to which I have failed to depart because they were so fundamental and they were so true. Right. So I remember a mentor. But when it comes to his family, I think I'm not competent to describe how he should be remembered by his family.
Right.
And for the Zambian people, because I have represented a constituency for 10 years, and I think that's significant enough. If I were to speak specifically for the people of Lunte, I'll tell you that is the same president who gave you the district, which has been able to employ a district commissioner there, which has been able to employ a council secretary and officers of the council, which has been able to bring services closer to the people of Lunte. He is the one who gave you those hospitals that you see, the clinics at Chivelushi, clinic at Sambala, clinic at Murila, and all of those places, and there are plenty of them. He is the one. He is the one who planted those telecommunication towers. Today, even this KBN program could be watched in Lunte because TV reception has become better in Lunte because of telecommunication infrastructure. It is President Lungu who ensured that all of those things are done. But also, there are significant bridges that he did for you. If you know the Lukulu Bridge, the notorious Lukulu Bridge, that is a legacy of President Edgar Lungu. If you think about some of those roads, unfortunately some roads were cancelled by UPND when they came into power, but he was still able to deliver some of them. So clearly, if this is extrapolated to other constituencies and other districts, then President Lungu needs to be properly remembered. Since I'm a resident of Lusaka, I also know how Lusaka has been transformed or was transformed by President Edgar Lungu. So all of you, my colleagues who drive along Zambezi Road, who drive on tarmacs in Kwamwena, in Minwood, who go to Minwood Airport, using the back road, all of those people in Chalalan driving on Given Lubinda Road, going to Lilai, you have to think about President Lungu. Not only that, even when you travel out of the country and you are at a new terminal at KKIA, whether it is there or at Simon Mwansaka Pwepo, or even at Hari Mwangankumbula International Airport in Livingstone, but not only that, Kasama Airport, and several others. So think about President Lungu as somebody who thought about you, who cared for you, who loved you. Okay? Who loved you. Remember, this is a man who refused to close the country during COVID. Said we can't close up the country because we are a landlocked country. We need this country, to have some flow in order for minimum business, to occur in the country so that people don't perish. He refused to say, street vendors should not go on the street, even under extreme pressure. And I tell you this because I was privileged. So clearly, I think we as a country should remember him as a good man. Right.
Yeah. Let's get to attend to other matters, Honorable MUTOTWE KAFWAYA, together with the viewers out there. We've got 60, roughly, I can say 69 days before the general elections.
Yes.
Thereabout.
Yes.
And the campaigns are already in motion as we conversate. When you reflect and you pause for a minute, looking at Zambia in the last 5 years of the new Dawn administration or the UPND administration and where we are, what or how would you describe Zambia or the state called Zambia today?
Okay.
How does it look like?
Okay, so good question. For me, speaking, it's a good question for me, but not sure. Yeah, Zambia is a very different country compared to what it was in 2021 today.
Right.
Okay. There are many things that you can talk about. You know, you can talk about the economy. You can talk about the political scenario. You can talk about the social well-being of the people. There's plenty that you can talk about. In these 5 years of the UPND government, Zambia has been described as the 6th hungriest country in the world. Okay? Poverty levels in our country are 63%. Okay? Our economy, the GDP that is, has been growing. Illicit financial flows, that is money stolen from our country, has escalated exponentially. The escalation has been gigantic to an extent where the Financial Intelligence Center is ashamed to report some of the figures in kwacha. They report them in dollars. This is where we have taken our country. Of course, debt has soared. It has grown. The debt that was left in 2021 is not what we are sitting with now. The domestic debt has just about doubled. Okay? The foreign debt has grown moderately, but domestic debt, my friend, stop talking. And CDF allocations have grown. You know, the CDF has grown. Senseless people, you know, who
Which
don't...
is a good thing, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, not so sensible people who compare numbers, you know, from 1 year, you know, you jump 5 years, then you make a comparison. Will tell you it has grown from 1.6 million to 40 million. Woofy.
What do you mean, Wolfie?
What I mean is, it was 1.6 in 2021, and it is 40 million in 2026.
Which is
How
true.
can you no? How can you compare budget which you do every year? There was a budget in 2022. There was another one in 2023. There was another one in 2024. Another budget in 2025, and now this one. Why are you not showing us a comparison between 2026 and 2025? Why are you going to 2021? You compared 2025 with 2021. You compared 2024 with 2021. You compared 2022 with 2021. What type of people are you? What type of reasoning is that? Very poor reasoning. But not so sensible people will be making those comparisons illogical and perhaps senseless comparisons, which can't inform any decision making. Because today, if you are going to decide on 2027, will you go to 2021 to get a benchmark? No, you won't. Your benchmark will be 2026. This is what we're talking about. So, as I said, as I was saying, so Zambia is a very different country to what it was. Zambia.
What about the comparison being talked about here? Just hold on.
No, that's a minute issue. That's a minute issue, and don't belabor.
The comparison which people are giving, they are looking at your administration, how you performed, and how much CDF allocation we we had as a country
Yes.
under the PF?
Yes.
And how much is the allocation today under the UPND? So that's the comparison that
are you telling me that UPND has only done 40 million in the past 5 years? No. They had the number in 2022, which grew in 2023. Do you understand? So 2022 was adequately compared to 2021. Adequately compared. Are you telling me that UPND has nothing else to talk about except the number which existed during PF? Do you know how much the budget was in 2021? The total budget? Do you know how much it was? If you don't, I'll tell you it was 119 billion. 119 billion for the whole year of 2021. Do you know what the budget is for 2026? Do you know? Do you want me to tell you? It is 253.1 billion. 253.1 billion. That's the whole budget. In fact, that is before a supplementary budget. And although even in 2021 there was a supplementary budget. And I know the figure for the supplementary budget for this year. It's 26 billion. 26.3 billion. That is a supplementary budget to add to the 253. Okay? So, what is the amount for CDF? Less than 3% of the budget. It's less than 3% of the 253.1 billion. So if you remove 3% from that, what do you get? It's a huge figure. And you see, that's why I don't like talking about CDF, because it's an embarrassing, adventure to talk about CDF. It's embarrassing, totally embarrassing for a government. In fact, why have you, strengthened your discourse on 3% of your budget, and you ignore the 97% of your budget? You don't even want to talk about it. You can't do that. You can't run a country like that. But this is the Zambia we are at. Do you know that even in the National Assembly, there is a proposal to make a parliamentary committee on CDF? And when I spoke to that myself, these are debates which happen within the assembly, because it is talking about formations within the assembly, so they are not broadcast. Okay, I was in no uncertain terms criticizing that. I said you can't make a parliamentary committee to oversee a transaction. You can't. It's not possible. This is very poor thinking. CDF is a transaction in a ministry. CDF does not even constitute the entire, 50% of the budget of the Ministry of Local Government. That is where you want to even have a parliamentary committee to scrutinize CDF. Be serious. This micro thinking about how a government, how a country should develop is really, reflective of the poor perception of the UPND government. But this is a Zambia where we are. Small things are magnified. Okay? Small things are magnified, and then big things are hidden. They are hidden.
Let me ask you a simple question around the CDF.
Yes.
Why was it so difficult for you and the PF when you were in power for the period of 10 years, so to say? Yeah. Why was it difficult for you to keep on increasing the CDF?
You see, the reason you think it should have been increased is because you have been indoctrinated to think that that is a channel of development. Show me a development here in Lusaka as a result of CDF. In these 5 years that UPND has been in power, point at one development here in Lusaka, where you live, which has come as a result of CDF. This is a poor conversation, my friend. It's a poor discussion. Why I'm saying so is CDF is nothing. It's totally nothing. And if you think that CDF will change your life, you are joking, you are playing with the country. This is what I'm telling you. all those developments I talked about in Lunte, all those, they were not driven by CDF. They were driven by the amount which remained after CDF has been disbursed. Now, if you go to Lunte today, what you are going to see out of CDF are still small things. There's no road in Lunte out of CDF. There's no bridge, not even one sensible bridge like the Lukulu Bridge in Lunte. You can make a bridge on a, on a stream. You can't make a bridge on a river. That's why after applying about, 800,000 in some district in Southern Province, a bridge collapsed. It went under. Okay? After applying all that amount of CDF, the bridge collapsed because you can't plan development like that. Do you know, I have a serious problem with the way UPND thinks about development of this country. CDF is haphazard development, okay? It's development driven by ward development committees. The very people at the bottom of society. Those are the people you want to say we will drive development, which we shall sing about at presidential level, at ministerial level. We even allocate a parliamentary committee to it. You are jokers.
What the UPND have
listen,
done is basically to prove to the country that look, this country, Zambia, yes, as much as we are complaining that we're a poor country,
yes,
but we have the resources. And the part of the resources, it is the increment, or it is evidenced, or it is seen through the increment in figures into the CDF, as it is today, which you are calling it is a poor conversation, according to you.
Poor.
If you ask me or you challenge me that what are some of the visible developmental, achievements done in Lusaka where you are here?
Yes.
That's a different conversation altogether. But my question was very simple. My question is very simple. Why was it so difficult for your government to also do what the UPND are doing?
It was senseless to do so. It was senseless to do so. You can't drive development in that fashion. That is why it was not
increasing CDF.
It was senseless.
It was senseless
because it was not going to drive development for the country. CDF could have never built the Mongo Kalabo Road. CDF could have never built the Mongo Sioma Road. CDF could have never built the Livingston Zimba Road. CDF could have never constructed a bridge in Makeni there, Makeni Chawama. Even this bridge here at Munali and the other one in between there. It could have never expanded the roads in Lusaka. CDF, my friend, is a very senseless way of looking at development. If you think that CDF will deliver development and you put all your energy there, you'll be disappointed after 5 years. You'll be struggling. You live here with me, here. I've challenged you here, saying you've had CDF from 2020, enhanced CDF from 2022 up to 2026, and that CDF has been in 7 constituencies. The council there has been receiving CDF in 7 constituencies year on year. So that's a very significant amount. Which, and we have to make it equivalent to something. Okay? Let's say akaka bridge akanono aka palonge kazi. Show me one development. Nanguka data center kalaka bapati. So show me. So listen, don't waste people's time.
CDF conversation, CDF increment under the UPND.
It's a big.
It is senseless.
It is
senseless.
The conversation is senseless.
Right.
Because
let's assume you are to be elected as Tonse Pamozia Lance on the 13th of August this year. If you formed government,
yes,
will you reverse the CDF increment from 40 million kwacha under the UPND back into 1.6 million kwacha?
I will reverse the conversation. I will talk more about what the 97% of the budget is doing for the people. Okay, I will focus more on what the 97% of the budget is doing for the people, and let that 40 million for CDF be administered by the local people. And I will not say because I gave you 40 million, therefore I won't bring development there. No. Let them use that 40 million to solve small problems, and those small problems are not for me to talk about. Those are local, local breakthroughs. For me, I must do the mega developments which help people at a larger scale.
Right.
Okay.
Let's get to the.
But let me finish my thought regarding the haphazardness of the UPND. Do you know that right now UPND is talking about, repurchasing the Eurobond?
Yes.
I don't know if you know that.
I'm aware about that.
Now, when do they want to do that?
Once they're re-elected, they will begin that process.
Or they have not begun? They are saying the tender has been issued.
Yes.
It
doesn't really materialize.
So let me tell you, this will demonstrate how haphazard UPND are. Okay? How? Because they are talking about to repurchase the Eurobond, deploying finances from the Africa Development Bank, $600 million. Okay, they go to Africa Development Bank to get a loan of $600 million, and then go and repurchase that Eurobond to a tune of 1.3 billion thereabout. Okay, and they are saying also use domestic resources. They haven't even said, or they are not even clear whether those domestic resources is also a loan or not. But that 600 million they want to borrow in order to repurchase the Eurobond is not there in the annual borrowing plan. It was not planned for. Do you understand that? Right. It was not planned for. When we were doing an adjustment to the annual borrowing plan, as the Minister of Finance brought the supplementary budget, that issue was not there. So somebody just woke up. It was never discussed.
Before Parliament.
So somebody just woke up from somewhere and says, we repurchase. Okay? How do we do it? Tatukwe tenda ramatora tashani tukongole kwa Africa Development Bank. Okay? Now, in case you have no idea what $600 million is, it's near equivalent to this money they are using to do the Ndola Doka Carriageway. 600. Do you see that? This is the magnitude of the amount that they want to borrow in order to repurchase a Eurobond. But suppose we had planned for this and it was smooth and we were properly thinking as a nation, we are happy to do that. Okay? What are your objectives, your fiscal objectives that you want to achieve from doing that? Okay? That issue of transparency and accountability that we talk about always, government should be able to tell you the conditions, okay, which are going to be attached to the new borrowing. Because already you have restructured this loan. You have extended the period. This loan was supposed to be mature by now, okay? But it's going to mature in 2053. So you have extended the maturity period, meaning your coupon payments, your service, debt service for that particular instrument has become smaller on an annual basis. But maybe in a long term, it may be higher because you have to pay coupon payments for a longer period. Do you see what I mean? So, what are your fiscal objectives? What are your funding, national funding objectives for this particular one? This one you are borrowing the 600. What will be the period? What will be the interest rate? Okay, what grace period are you going to get? Government is totally unable to disclose those numbers because they did not plan. Now, if a government can't plan a loan, which is a requirement of the law, it's a requirement of the law to plan borrowing. They can't plan; they just wake up and they can throw such a big number. Will you tell me that they can guarantee that this new facility is going to have more favorable conditions than the old one?
Honorable, not I don't know. I'm keenly listening to you, and I'm asking myself,
Yes.
why do you think you are the right person, you, Honorable MUTOTWE KAFWAYA, to talk about issues to do with transparency and everything, questioning the UPND on all these issues, on the Eurobond buyback, initiative that they have put on the agenda? Because UPND perhaps is looking at a country, being in a very, economic quagmire right now. And when you talk about transparency, basically you are a wrong person, you yourself, and maybe some of your colleagues in the Tonse Pamozi Alliance, because a number of you were in government for 10 years. And when you talk about transparency, you'll be questioned that the same Eurobond, which you are questioning now, you got money via, which was called the Eurobond funds or monies. Where did that money go? When you talk about transparency, let's begin by questioning you. Zambians have asked you questions that Honorable KAFWAYA and your colleagues in PF now, some of you are now in the Tonse Pamozi Alliance. Tell me how you use the money in the Zambia Railway project. Are you able to account for all those monies which you got?
So what you do is go to Zambia Railways. Let me tell you. If you are a journalist worth your salt, okay, and you have a problem, you should know that a minister like I was. By the way, by the time I went to that ministry, that transaction was already completed. It was done during my COSAD.
Correct. Okay? But information
I
remains.
wasn't even an MP yet. I want you to understand this, because the way you are talking, you have been brainwashed by UPND. So you look at
governance is about continuity.
Yes,
it's a collective
listen, my
challenge.
brother. Can I finish?
Yes, finish.
I am saying you've been brainwashed by UPND. This is how you strengthen small transactions. Okay, I don't view development in that fashion. I view development, from a global perspective. This is how I'm wired. And when you are talking about the Euro bond, and you minimize it to Zambia Railways because I was a minister of transport, you are wasting your energy. You are wasting, your good brain. Because earlier I told you about the Mongo Kalabo Road. That was a Euro bond. In case you don't know, that was a Euro bond. The developments that happened in Zambia Railways, that was a Euro bond. Elsewhere, there was money that went to Africa. Is it Zambia Development Bank or something? There was a Euro bond allocated to that area. It's a number of places. And me, not having sat in Minister of Finance, I cannot be the one to explain how this money was allocated.
No, I said you were part of the previous
previous government or not,
or political party which ran the country for 10 years.
At every one time, okay, you are going to have somebody who was a former minister sitting with you.
So give me the answer. Maybe your answer should be, I was not in government by then.
That's not the answer.
Okay.
The answer is, I have told you that you have been brainwashed. That is your answer. And I want you to take this forward, because this argument is an old, tired argument. Why is it old and tired? Because several people who sat in those, they have explained, but you have refused to internalize. Okay, they have told you how this money was applied. You have refused to internalize. The reason is brainwashing by UPND and nobody else.
It's not UPND. Go and ask Clive Chirwa, Professor Chirwa. He will tell you he doesn't know how that money was utilized. I've interviewed Chirwa here.
That's a point.
He's also shocked.
And he was MD?
Of course he was.
So the MD was shocked how the money, the MD was shocked of how the money in his own treasury accounts was applied.
The players were different from his role as an MD at the time. That's what we picked from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So meaning that in the PF as well, you had the haphazard, manner of governing issues.
No.
Anyway, my question, why I brought in this issue was basically to question you on the transparency, because you're questioning the UPND, and I thought also to remind you that you are not the right person to talk about transparency in the UPND.
No, you have misled yourself. You are misdirected.
Right.
And let me tell you why you are misdirected. You are misdirected because about the Eurobond, there's nothing to fear. The reason why this debt was what do you call the reason why it was restructured to take its maturity to 2053 is because it exists.
Right. Let's come to.
Can I finish?
Okay.
It's
finish.
because
I want us to look at the.
Yeah, it's because
the
debt exists.
Right.
You understand? And you talk about continuity in terms of government. You understand? People must be made accountable, whether they have left office or not. Okay? What has UPND done to make people accountable who they suspect to have misused the Eurobond?
Right. That question will remain. Honorable, I know that the elections, like I've mentioned, the campaigns are on, but a lot of drama, has happened. We've seen some, independent candidates withdrawing, dominantly in the UPND strongholds.
Yeah.
What is happening? Maybe as you answer that question, how do you look at the elections generally ahead of 13th of August?
You see, we have to extend the answer to the question you asked earlier. What Zambia do you see?
What kind
This
of
is now a new Zambia. It's a new Zambia that we are having. A Zambia where, MPs are going through unopposed. Okay, because some of them are claiming to be enticed, to pull out. Okay, others are being beaten to pull out, being clobbered to pull out. Okay, and you see a former minister coming to even appeal to others to withdraw. A former minister, for God's sake, comes to TV and says, "I'm appealing for others also to withdraw." What nonsense is that, if you ask me? Why can't you just go and compete? If you don't want to compete, be like me. I've not gone to compete. Okay? I have not gone back to compete. I've said, let others compete. Do you understand? But a former minister coming to embarrass, to embarrass your structure, pleading for other people to withdraw so that you and your friends go unopposed. Do you see that? So for me, I find that to be a new Zambia. This is the new standard of democracy in this country. And IP, if you ask me, I'll tell you this is a very poor democratic standard. Extremely poor democratic standard. But where did this whole thing begin? It began when some UPND very senior official said, if you belong to us, you have been mobilizing using our structures, and then you are not adopted, you cannot stand independent. And the guy said, and this, President, I am speaking in front of you. Okay? You are listening, Mr. President. Us, as the youth, will not allow anyone. Okay? So that is the standard of democratic development by the UPND. The youth wing of UPND declared they will not allow anyone, okay, to stand as independent if they are not adopted. But look, people like Garingom, he didn't even apply to be adopted by UPND. So why clobber him? There's a guy whose cheek was plucked out. I was looking. I said no. Okay? So, clearly, my brother, this is the Zambia we have today. This is the Zambia we have today. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this CDF government has brought us here. It's the Kwenyu government. It has brought us here. This is where we are now. The terrible standards are not just in disclosure.
You call it the CDF government?
Yeah, it's a Kwenyu CDF government. The Kwenyu CDF government. It has brought us here. That's what it is. If they can't tell you about, I just told you 97% of the budget, they are busy saying, even there's a poster there, or it's a poster there at Manda, you go and see it. CDF is a game changer. What change has CDF done in Lusaka? It's a CDF government, the Kwenyu people. This is where they have brought us. You know? So I'm deeply sorry, my brother. I think that what we need is to reset the country. We need to allow people, to participate in the democratic process. You need to let their people and their convictions to guide them. Like, the conviction has guided EFZ to issue a letter without a single script. So the conviction must be allowed to prevail.
How can Zambia strengthen its public trust in democratic space or institutions?
Well, I think we need to restructure. We need to restructure a number of things.
Right.
We need to restructure. IP, if you are making a law and the law is still under enactment at the National Assembly, you know that after the third reading, the law will be, or the bill will be taken to the president for presidential assent, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
How can you start using a law which is still on second reading at the National Assembly?
Which one is that? Just be specific for the viewers to...
The Electoral Commission of Zambia started to quote a law that had not been made yet. In fact, that law needed an amendment on the floor of the House to cater for what UPND had already established in regulations, where they said you need a signature from the Secretary General and the President of a political party. That law was still under enactment. Today, let me tell you, today you might be shocked that that amendment has not even operationalized. If you go, and I challenge you, go to. I'm not saying this is the situation,
right,
but because I heard today the president was signing some, some laws.
Some bills, yes.
Okay, excuse me. So that means those over 70 bills which were passed, some of them have not been signed.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm also wondering, who is going to operationalize those laws that he has signed? Because do you know the person who operationalizes laws? It's a minister. It's not the president. The president can't sign a statutory instrument to operationalize a law. He only assents, and the law goes to the ministry. Then a minister will issue a statutory instrument. So you'll be shocked to go and find that the ECZ could have applied the law which was not even operationalized. And it's a recipe for chaos. It's a recipe for chaos. But what more do you want to even know about that? Those are illegal laws. All of them, all of those over 70 laws which were passed, they are illegal.
They are illegal?
They are illegal laws. Those laws were passing in the assembly when there's no quorum. A person like myself, I even used to raise alarm. I will write a note to the clerk of National Assembly. Why are you comfortable, transacting business without a quorum? And they'll just continue. No quorum in the House. The business goes on. But also, there were those MPs, remember, those who defected. Okay? If that MP sat in a committee which considered that bill, that was an illegal committee. If that MP sat in the chamber when that bill was on the floor of the House, that was an illegal sitting. Because you had people who were illegal, who were sitting in committees and in the chamber to consider those bills.
Where do you take the arguments of the Speaker of National Assembly and then Madam Nelly Mutus,
It doesn't
who
matter.
actually gave a clarity that those,
It doesn't
those MPs they are just given an indication or intentions to join the UPND at a time.
Nelly Mutu
That's
is
a
not
ruling
a
which came out.
judge. Nelly Mutu is not a judge. A ruling of the assembly is not a court judgment. It's not a court judgment. It is clear in the law. When you cross the floor, you on your own, you defect from one party which sponsored you to the National Assembly to the next, you cease to be a member of parliament.
Automatically so.
Automatically, nobody even needs to declare your seat vacant. You cease on your, it's constitutional, my friend. And to come and say, to come and say, no, inga imwenga twaranda that you crossed. No, but Sanga, it's like my case. We were told by PF that imwena muitanfia because you participated in the Tonse Congress. It is PF which said so to us. It's not us who said to Afumako PF. You understand? So for us, we could even contest that decision. So for Mayoba Neri to come and tell Sanga in that fashion, it was totally unfortunate. Comrade Sanga never at any point spoke about defecting from the PF.
Peradventure, if you formed government this year in August,
yes,
would you repeal the 70 bills that were passed by you, members of parliament, then?
Well, first of all, most of those laws, I don't agree with them. First of all, I don't agree with them. I don't agree with the CCTV Act. I don't agree with a number of those things. Remember, even what we put in that electoral act saying the president and the secretary general as they appear at the registrar of societies. The registrar of societies does not only, it's not a registrar of political parties. It is a registrar of societies. And the template for registration of societies does not recognize the secretary general. It doesn't. It recognizes a secretary. Okay? So those political decisions which are made in a rush just for political mingalato, it's not governance. That is.
I want you to answer my question now.
Yeah.
Peradventure, or if you were lucky to be elected by the Zambian people this year as Tonse Pamozi Alliance, will you repeal those 70 bills?
It's
or
not
will you reverse
I'm
them?
not running as president. Okay, but if I were to recommend,
No, you said those are illegal bills.
I'm not
you
running,
call them illegal bills.
no, let me tell you, I'm not running as president, and I want you to understand that. Okay, I am not running as president. Honorable Brian Mundubile is running as president, and Makebi Zulu is running as vice president. Would it be my strong recommendation if I had the chance to recommend to these people? Yes. It would be my strong recommendation.
And
you have to deal with illegalities.
And if they don't agree with you to reverse those bills, what will you do?
I am not.
What could you do?
I'm not running as president. Okay, the president.
How can you associate yourself with something illegal?
Right now.
Yeah.
Listen, have I not told you that Ron Mwamba is an illegal auditor general? Have I not told you? I've told you. But I've told the president. He has refused to act. I have to exist. I have to exist.
And you have to continue associating with
and hammering. I have to continue hammering. I have to continue talking about these matters. That's why you never see me stop talking about illegal audits. That's why I talk about all of these things, because one day, this same president who refuses my advice, he will hear. And you put a qualifying auditor general there.
Of course, the Zambian government, via President Hakainde Hichilema, they are bragging about the lower inflation, and also the bumper harvest as a sign of economic recovery today, more especially as the country heads to the general election. And the UPND are saying our victory will be very easy because we have worked a lot or tirelessly in the background to ascertain that victory.
Okay.
Yes.
So the inflation has fallen
yes.
from what to what?
That's according to them.
Okay. IP. I wish I was a journalist.
Right.
Yeah, I wish I was a journalist. Most of these things, I'll flip them.
Okay.
Okay. I'll ask questions in a much more meaningful way so that the people are assisted. Why am I saying so? I am saying so because the only time this economy was in recession in the last 10 years is in 2020. Okay? 2020, that is the only year that the GDP contracted. And everybody knows why. It was because of the COVID-19. Okay? The whole world was nearly shut down. I remember then I was sitting as Minister of Transport. And I recall that at the airport there, South African Airways, which was landing 7 times in a day, 7 times in a day, we were having once a week. Once a week. I recall Ethiopian Airline, which was doing 3 times in a day, we were having once a week. Okay? Most airlines had stopped coming to Zambia. So because of the measures that nations took around COVID, there was no business anyway. And I'm talking about Zambia, a country where its president had said, "Tatwaisale chalo." Tatwaisale chalo. Remember I talked about that area. Still, the economy contracted. So that is the only year where the economy, contracted. In 2021, the economy grew by 3.5%. So we're already out of recession. And the economy has been growing year on year. The growth rates, may have been fluctuating, but it has been growing. So there's no coming out of recession. There's no recession. The recession was in 2020. Okay? But also this issue of inflation, my brother, it has to be properly explained.
Right. Please do.
Okay? So inflation for me,
I want you to simplify it. Actually.
Yes, is the rate at which prices change. And mainly change, or should I say increase, because change can be either decreasing or increasing, right? When the prices begin to decrease, for example, how much is a bag of meal meal today? 325 kwacha. If next month the price became 300, the price will have decreased. Now, if that is the general trend in goods and services, then would be saying the inflation has changed, negatively, which is deflation. Okay, but inflation is increasing. Okay, increasing by some amounts. The main issue for our people here is not the inflation being 6%. Because firstly, the moment we say it is 6% inflation, we are saying the prices are going up by 6%. But the main issue is, what is the basis? What is your benchmark? Where are the prices coming from? Okay, ubunga lelo so ubunga bulefuma pali shinga pali 325. Cooking oil will be coming from 320 kwacha per 5 liter container. Isn't it? Bread is coming from 28 kwacha per loaf of bread. So if it increased, if the inflation was 6% after in a period that you are considering, maybe in 6 months, you find ubunga bwakwerelako by that percentage in that period under consideration. Do you see that? The issue is the base. What is the cost of living? If into Filipari shinga, a main issue
is the best favoring
is the benchmark, favorable for the people.
Is it favorable now to guarantee the UPND retain their
I'll tell you just a few things. Okay, I've talked about Milimil. 325 kwacha is too much for the people. You remember when our President Lungu had a rally in Kitwe? He said, "Wesheni kofena ngunipari 100 kwacha." Not wish mwatula ile 50 kwacha, but wesheni kofena ngupali 100 kwacha. According to President Lungu then, he thought 100 kwacha is better. I am inclined to think so. 100 kwacha abenge abantu limbi kuti balashitobunga imifuko ibiri per month. You understand? People who have then what you actually had me you've had me lose my thought. I wanted to explain something. As it comes back, I'll be able
not
to,
a problem. Let's move on. Let's look at the Tonse Alliance. I know that you have your manifesto. Actually, you were questioned as the opposition that the UPND or President Hakainde Hichilema is still waiting for your manifesto. That was via his Facebook page. I don't know if you read that. Yeah, but let me take advantage of your presence here.
Yes.
What will you do? What will be your priority areas or focus in the first 100 days if elected into office as Tonse Alliance?
If that question is good for the president, but I'll tell you what I love in the Tonse Alliance manifesto. Okay, because to say that what will you do in the first 100 days, what power will I have to do those things in 100 days? It's not a good question.
But you work together with the president.
No. But
it's a manifesto.
I can't. No. The manifesto can't tell you. Can't tell you. Those are good for the president. That's a good question for the president. Now, in answering that question, I'll tell you the things I love about the Tonse
What
Alliance
happened
manifesto.
in an event where the president?
Have I answered your question?
You haven't answered my question.
Oh, so you are building up a question before I answer.
I'm worried, and here's my worry.
No. Can I let me answer your question?
Answer my question.
After I finish,
what will you do in the first 100 days if Tonse is elected into office? You can't tell me that this question is meant for the president.
No, it's not. I'm saying
what
it's
happened
good.
If
You don't be like
Mundu is
UPND.
not there?
Don't be
Or
like
is running
UPND. What do you mean he's not there? He has filed in as a president.
No, I'm saying what example can I? Let me simplify the question. Here there's a CEO. Okay.
Yes.
So his vision.
Yes.
All of us, even me, I'm supposed to buy into his vision to a point whereby if I'm going to be interviewed by any other institution to represent the institution, I'll be able to explain. That's what I'm saying. And also the people behind me are supposed to buy into the vision of the institution. So you can't tell me that this question
so that is not
meant for the president.
I'm saying it is good. I say that is a good question for the president.
Okay, so
because let me tell you, I've been a minister before.
Exactly.
So I know how these things work much more than you do.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
And I know what is good for the president and what is good for his subordinate. Earlier you were saying, will you repeal these laws? What did I tell you? I told you that I would recommend. That's what I told you.
Exactly.
I would recommend very strongly. But what if I recommend to Vice President Makebi Zulu and he doesn't take it up? What if I recommend to Brian Mundubira and he doesn't take it up?
Right.
Okay? So, my friend, I'm a little more experienced than you are when it comes to these matters. And when I tell you that this is good for the president, I am not saying you can't ask me.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. But in answering your question, let me tell you what I love about this manifesto. This manifesto is focusing on recovering the country and creating an environment which promotes job creation for the young people. Do you know the seriousness that President Mundubire has attached to youth employment? He is creating a deliberate undertaking to be placed under the office of the president, which will be coordinating all activities to do with employment creation. Okay, to do with skills development, relevant skills, to seize the opportunities in the economic environment. So when you look at that alone, then you know that when he's saying he's focusing on the young people to help them, it's not rhetoric, is serious. I love that. But also, President Mundubire's manifesto under the Tonse Alliance is talking about industrialization. That sustainable job creation, sustainable business environment stimulation. Extremely important. But industrialization based on what? Based on what industry and which one? Is saying the main industry is our ever cash cow.
Right.
The mining sector. Okay? Industrialization based on the mining sector and the agriculture sector. So if you industrialize, you create business opportunities at various levels of value addition. Do you see that? So I see the manifesto as being very clear and very consistent, with our environment. And Brian
is your
saying,
manifesto better than that of the UPND? Maybe to
the
answer the question from the president
UPND
that is
has,
still waiting for your manifesto as
as
opposition?
things stand, the UPND, they are probably still reviewing the TONSA manifesto in order for them to come up with theirs. Because where is it? Where is it? They don't have. UPND has got no manifesto as things stand. And when the day it will come out, I'll spend the whole day reading it. The day the UPND manifesto will come out, I'll get it, spend the whole day reading it and comparing the concepts with what is contained in the TONSA.
I have a copy of the UPND manifesto 2021 to 2026.
That is finished.
Right.
After 2 months, we're going to elections. It is finished and they have done nothing. They have not brought meal to 50 kwacha. They have not brought fertilizer to 250 kwacha. They have done nothing. The dollar may come to what it was when HH formed government. Remember when he was inaugurated? The day he was inaugurated, the dollar was 16 kwacha. Okay. So when it comes to 16 kwacha, he will have equaled what it was. But the thing is that it's a manipulated figure. It's manipulated because you see these indicators are supposed to be backed. Okay, what fundamentals will have backed the appreciation of the kwacha? There are no fundamentals. There are no fundamentals, my friend. Even the promise of 3 million metric tons of copper production in 10 years, they have now done 5 years. They only increased the copper production by 40 tons. So when is it going to be even 1 million? So you are in big problems, my friend. Can you have a kwacha appreciation, delivered by load shedding for 3 years in your 5 years? How? Okay? The export we know here in our country, sustainable exports, is copper. How has copper performed? Very dismally. Okay? Very poorly, my friend. So if the copper production has performed so poorly, when you look at their own targets by UPND, then where is the appreciation of the kwacha coming from? And in any case, the kwacha has appreciated. Why is the diesel and petrol not reducing? Because what are the fundamentals in petrol and diesel? One of them is the dollar, isn't it? And the other one is the international market, changes. The dollar has come down to 17. It's come down to 17. Why is petrol at 20 shani or 29? You tell me. There's no consistency. These things are not speaking to each other, Bwana. And if they are not speaking to each other, there's something you are doing there in order to create a narrative. That's why, my brother, I don't want you to be like UPND. I do not want you to be like the UPND. The UPND, very vola kubufi ba UPND. Ukubola no bufi. Because when no bufi, that is their daily bread. Ubufi. That is their daily bread. UPND, a day can't pass. A day can't pass. If you find the UPND Christian, be very worried. Be very cautious. Not worried, but cautious. No, to live in a Christ, be cautious. You are UPND dealing.
Let me push a few questions, of course. Now, these questions, I will drive them from the clip I'm going to play because the UPND, through President Akende Shema, has got a lot of questions to ask you, Honorable MUTOTWE KAFWAYA, and your colleagues in the opposition. So let's listen and watch together, the viewers, and thereafter you answer the questions coming from the President.
To inform this House that shortly after we were elected, we went to Parliament to legislate against reckless borrowing. There's a law there. Speaker is here. Many people didn't pay attention to it because the debt was acquired through recklessness. A ministry could acquire debt. Line Ministry of Finance is not aware. How can you run a country like that? How? So me, I'm listening. When people say no, they are coming back, I say, to do what? To occasion more damage, so we can spend 3 years working on the debt restructuring again? The little things we've done in these 4 years and 9 months, we spent 3 years on debt restructuring. Imagine if we came in after the balance sheet was cleaned up in 2011. Today, this country would have been in a totally different place. We lost 10 years after 2011. Totally lost it. And now the colleagues want to come back. To do what? You can change the nameplate that you are now a different creature. You are the same. You can change the name. You can change the T-shirt color. You are the same. This is not a joke. I'm serious. My heart bleeds. I hope your heart bleeds. It's scary that we can bring back damage to our country, which took us 3 years to unwind. We have relatives, yes. We love them. We have nephews, cousins. We love them. But we love the 21 million Zambians more than a small group. So today, we signed...
You're still watching a State of the Nation right on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka, of course. We are from playing a clip of President Akende Shema. Of course, he spoke to a congregation at State House when he assented into 5 bills. Among them is the Education Amendment Bill number 2026, which of course signifying or solidifying free education now into law. Of course, he spoke to among other issues. There is a big question, Honorable KAFWAYA, here. You want to come back to do what? That's number 1. Number 2, he says you can change a jersey, but you still remain the same creature. So you've moved away from the PF. Now you are under the National Restoration Party for Unity and Prosperity. But you still remain the same creature. That's what the head of state is talking about. He also talks about the debt restructuring and as among the achievements that were achieved. So
yes, definitely.
Answer this within 2 minutes, then we pick up course.
Okay, this is what the president has said is important. And if you restrict me to 2 minutes, you'll be very unfair.
Right.
Because this is fundamental.
Okay, please.
Now, let me say to the president, there is always room for improvement. Always.
What does it mean?
It means that when you assume a certain position, you should be able to improve it. Okay, that's what I mean, and it's a challenge to everybody who takes up a new role, like President Akende took up a new role in 2021. Now he has complained about the time it took them, to restructure the debt. 3 years. Okay, this is important. Okay, it's important, and restructuring debt is more complex than signing bills, assenting to bills, because you just put a signature. How long has it taken him to just assent to 5 bills? How long? Because when was Parliament dissolved? So if it is going to take you, sir, over 2 weeks to sign 5 bills out of over 70, you are in trouble. Debt restructuring can take you 3 years. It's justifiable. Today he didn't finish to assent to all the over 70 bills which were passed under 2 weeks by the National Assembly of Zambia. Then you should come and start complaining about the time it took you to perform a complex task. And you want me to sympathize? I think you are slow. 5 bills after all this long? I'm sorry. And you see, if he's signing bills is going to, to take press conferences, you are in big problems, because signing a bill is routine for the president. Why should there be a press conference for signing bills? What are you doing? What exactly are you doing? But the point is this, and now I want to be more clear. Right. I told you, I'll just take 2 numbers. I already gave you these numbers. 2021, when PF was leaving office, the national budget was 119 billion kwacha. This budget included the debt for this particular year. It included the loans for this particular year. What is the budget today? It is 253.1 billion before the supplementary budget. And this budget includes the debt for this particular year. What is the difference between 119 billion and 253 billion? It's a lot of difference. So the debt you were restructuring is a very small component of the national budget, of the national budgets put together in those years that they were borrowed. Very small component. You wasted time. It was probably needless. But the thing is this. You wanted your debt instruments to become healthy again, for them to start like the Eurobond. You wanted those instruments to trade with decency on the secondary markets. Okay, you wanted that to happen. And this is why earlier when we were talking about the buyback, I don't know if I told you about the timing. I said this is extremely poor timing, because remember, when we were not paying debt from 2020 up to 2023 thereabout, this particular instrument was trading in distress. It was a distressed instrument. Now, if you want to buy back an instrument, that is when you buy it back, because your negotiations are going to yield much fruit, because the ones who are holding that instrument know that it's a risky instrument. But now it's been restructured. It is now, trading, under health conditions. That is when you go in to buy back. Your intentions should be scrutinized. So clearly, I don't see that complaint as a very important complaint or logical complaint, because your own conduct shows that you are very slow. Signing 5 bills, or 5 bills to make them laws, when your friends were spending nights to make them, and there's nothing you are doing, you are just signing. Just signing. And listen, these are not even private members' bills. These bills never came from me or any other private member of parliament. These bills came from your cabinet. You are the one who sent them to National Assembly so that they can be put through. They have been put through. After 2 weeks, you are signing only 5. Then you are complaining about the time. I'm sorry, my friend.
And the merits of I'll pick on one of the bills which has been now signed into law, the Education Amendment Act number 2026. In short, free education has now been solidified, is now law. Yeah. Is it a good thing from where you stand, as Tonse?
Providing free education is very important for the people.
Right.
Very, very important.
So
remember,
the UPND, they are right to
IP.
brag about this.
Come again?
The UPND is in the right position to brag about
yes,
this, right?
Yes, you are cutting me before I finish my thoughts. Providing free education is very important for the people of Zambia.
Right.
This is why even the previous government was driving towards achieving free education in that particular sector. Why am I telling you so? I'm telling you so because the payments reduced from 1,800 kwacha to only 200 kwacha per annum before UPND came into power. Okay, so when UPND came into power, they came and completed the gradual process that was begun by the previous government. And they removed the 200 kwacha. And so it became free. But there is room for improvement, because even today some people will tell you free education is not free at all. They'll bring in components which are legit. They'll tell you that if your child is in a boarding school, in a Catholic school, they still pay. They'll tell you that listen, there's plenty. So you have to start thinking about how you improve the quality of this education, how you drive it towards absolute free education, because there are several components that are still being bought at commercial value before your child can go into school. So clearly, I endorse the idea of free education, but it has to come with the right level of quality, and also it has to be free if it should qualify to be called free education. If the children are still paying, it's not free education.
All right, Honorable, we have to go. Thank you so much for coming through to State of the Nation. Time is not on our side. We have to go. Thank you so much.
Let me now use because you are
Dear viewers, we have to end the program. Thank you so much. You've been watching State of the Nation. Honorable MUTOTWE KAFWAYA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa.